Alright guys, Revolve Rustler here today, and I'm here with a very special episode. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Slammiversary 2017, Slammiversary 15, probably the final TNA or Impact Wrestling show they will ever do, because it seems that now TNA's been taken and turned into GFW, and we're going to get amped instead of Impact Wrestling, which I don't really care. I don't really follow TNA. I did quite a lot from about 2008 to probably about 2013. I kind of have been off and on ever since. I got on when Eric Young won the world title. I saw Rude win the world title. I saw all the guys I wanted to win the world title, but that title meant nothing, and it really did mean nothing. It was just a nice moment to see some of those guys win the belt. So TNA Slammiversary 2015, I'll say a couple of things now. So the commentary team was Robert Flores and Joseph Park, Robert Flores and Dom West. Now, they were the commentators because, of course, JB and Josh Matthews were in a tag team matchup with Scott Steiner and Joseph Park on the show, so they got those two guys in. Robert Flores is a sports journalist, but he knows nothing about pro wrestling, so he was calling nothing, basically, in this matchup. He was calling no moves, pretty much. And the other guy, Dom West, has always been... I'm just getting my notes up on my phone. I've done half the show in notes because I really couldn't be bothered to do it all. That's very lazy. That is very lazy. Very unprofessional. But yeah, so the commentators. It was a 7-match card. I'm going to say a couple of things just straight off the bat. Too many tag team matches. Match placement was a bit weird. But overall, and I'll tell you this now, I enjoyed this show more than I've enjoyed any WWE pay-per-view since Mania. NXT aside, any main roster show since Mania, this one was better. It might have had better matches overall, but it was just a better show. And you'll find out why as I go through it. This show was a really great, I think, tribute to what Impact Wrestling and TNA has been for 15 years. You had JB in a match. You had Joseph Park as Abyss. You had some really, really cool moments throughout the show. You had guys that have been in the company like Bobby Lashley and new guys like Patron. You had a real nice mixture of talent. And at the beginning of the show, I did kind of laugh when they had the... what the hell is that? When they had the... Oh my god, no. I've lost my notes, damn it. Never mind. When they had the tribute to all the past guys that have been in the company, and there was Kurt Angle and Sting and AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, and I was like, no, I'm in your company anymore. Jeff Jarrett was the only one left, so, But yeah, let me get into the show. So the first match on the card was I didn't watch the pre-show, pointless. The first match on the card, I know what it was, I'm just going to have to get it up quickly, just to be sure. I've got it up, there you go. So the first match on the card was a 4-corner tag team match for the GFW and Impact Wrestling tag team titles, which are held by LAX, who were represented by Santana and Ortiz. I've seen these guys a little bit. I saw them win the tag belts in TNA. I didn't see them win the GFW tag belts, though. So yeah, Santana and Ortiz of LAX were accompanied by Homicide and Conan and Diamante, and they were against a team from 3 different companies, 3 different wrestling organizations. They were against a team from Crash, which was Garza Jr. and the Laredo Kid. They were against a team from AAA, which was Drago, who I really like Drago in Lucha Underground, so cool, and El Hijo del Fantasma. And then they were against a team from Noah, which I was shocked at. I'm quite a pro wrestling Noah fan, which was represented by Naomichi Marufuji. And I love Naomichi Marufuji. I love a bit of Marufuji. He was great in the G1 last year. He had some really good matches with Okada. I've seen some of his old work with Kenta in Noah and with Suzuki in Noah. Some awesome wrestling matches. So, yeah. It was those 4 teams. So, LAX, Team Noah, Team Crash, and Team AAA. And they honestly had a 4 corners lucha match. And it was honestly probably the best match on the show. And I really enjoyed this match. Now, I'll say a couple of things. There were a couple of moments where it was sloppy, like Drago botched a dive over the top. He botched a dive off the top ropes, which El Hijo Fantasma was like, oh, he botched it. Oh no, what do? I'll just give him a leg drop. It made me laugh a little bit. It tickled me. There was some really good stuff though, like Naomichi Marufuji being the vet at the beginning, just looking at Santana, and Santana just like giving him a bit of respect, but they had like a little one-upmanship battle at the beginning, and then Marufuji won it, and then Laredo Kid came in and did a load of flips and did a moonsault arm drag, and that was cool, and there was loads of really fast arm drags and transitions, and it was a great Lucha 14 match. It really, really was. And then Ortiz came in, double teams from him and Santana really taking everyone out, and then El Hijo de Fantasma and Drago destroyed everyone. Really good double teams from those guys. Some crazy spots. I can't believe I've lost all my notes, damn it. There was some really good stuff. Diamante got in at one point, and she injured her knee. She went to kick. She at one point tripped someone, and then eventually she got in the ring. She kicked, I think it was Drago, in the leg, and then she injured her knee, and I was like, that's not good, because you can tell that she's really injured it. She was running a lot slower, and she's still very professional. She still did a dive over the top rope. Very professional. She was caught, but very professional there from Diamante, so that's a good first impression for her, from me anyway. Some really, really good spots. I can't even describe what Marufuji and Ishimori, sorry. Tajiri Ishimori. They did like a flapjack, a front flapjack into a code breaker, which was an insane spot. El Hijo de Fantasma and Drago did a shatter machine, which was really, really cool. Just some awesome double team stuff. Great stuff. Tajiri Ishimori did a Frosberry flop over the top at one point. Someone else did as well. But Tajiri Ishimori did his. And kneed Garza Jr., I think it was, in the face. Ouch. Eventually, LAX took over. They hit a Doomsday device. Sorry. They hit a powerbomb blockbuster combination with Santana doing the blockbuster, obviously, for the 1-2-3. LAX retained the GFW and Impact Wrestling tag team titles. This was an amazing way to kick off the show. I really love this matchup. I'm going to give this 4.25 stars. This was honestly one of my favourite matches I've seen this year. It was just frenetic and fantastic energy from all four teams. And yeah, there was some sloppy bits, some punches and kicks, and a couple of dives were off, but just crazy stuff here from these guys. Really, really proud. And it was great to see LAX. They were the only team that really needed to win this. The other teams were all different companies, and it was great to see Marufuji and Drago and El Hijo de Fantasma in the company, but LAX really were the ones that needed to win this, so kudos. And then Conan cut a promo saying that there was a new member of LAX. Is it going to be Al Patron, I imagine? The only other Mexican in the company. That's the only reason I'm saying it, sorry. But yeah, I've always found the LAX gimmick a bit stereotypical, because the Mexican and the gangsters, did you need to do it? But yeah, anyway, 4.25 stars. Best, really, really good match. Best match on the show, but best match on the show. Really, yeah, I'm going to say it. Best match on the show. Second on the card, we had the debut of D'Angelo Williams as he teamed with Moose, who got a cool entrance, one of two cool entrances on the show. Moose, cool entrance with cheerleaders all doing the Moose thing, kind of similar to his Bound for Glory entrance, but then I think he had players instead. They took on Chris Adonis, who Robert Flores kept calling Chris Masters. No. And Eli Drake. This match was okay, but it was really D'Angelo Williams who stole the match. He, in his debut, was great. I don't know if I've seen a better debut in a long time. He was smooth, he was crisp, his arm drags were good, his drop kicks were good. His selling was a bit iffy, but outside of that, really, really good debut for this guy. Basically, they eventually got the heat on Moose. Williams eventually got in. Him and Moose cleared house. They went to get a table from under the ring. Drake and Adonis cut them off. Adonis sent Williams into the steps. They were going to put Moose through a table with an elbow off the top from Eli Drake. Eli Drake got pushed off the apron, landed on his feet on the apron. Sorry, he got pushed off the top rope. He landed on his feet on the apron and then jumped to the floor. That actually looks pretty dangerous. Because he had a very few seconds to balance before he fell. So it wasn't like he was jumping, he was falling. And then Moose pump kicks Chris Adonis. He puts him on the table. D'Angelo Williams caps off his debut, not wonderfully, by doing a frog, not even a frog splash, just a splash. And he only hit I actually just hit the controller and stuff on there, so let me just move it. D'Angelo Williams only hit Chris Adonis with his knees. The table didn't break. He also face planted, but that was enough to get the pin on Chris Adonis. D'Angelo Williams, really, really good debut for the guy. He deserved a better finish, but what can you do? In the end, they brought Eli Drake back out, and Moose just powerbombed him through the table because we needed our table spot on a show where we had about 95 other table spots. But yeah, decent matchup, really good debut for D'Angelo Williams. 2 3/4 stars. This was really good. Then we had the strap match between James Storm and EC3. Now, James Storm's actually one of my favourite wrestlers ever. Like, I really have always loved James Storm. I think he always tells a great story in the ring, and I think he's just a good worker. And this matchup had a fantastic story, and it was all about how EC3 had humiliated James Storm and how EC3 wanted to kill the TNA Old Guard. And James Storm is, frankly, the only one left outside of, like, LAX and Loki and Sonjay Dutt, I guess. So EC3 a couple of weeks ago whipped James Storm with the strap 31 times. And in the match, it was all about how James Storm wanted to get revenge. So eventually, these two men were whipping each other with a strap, and it was okay at the beginning, but it took about 5 minutes. It took EC3 hit a TK3 within about 5 minutes, so I was like, this isn't going very long. He hit that TK3. He went to get handcuffs after James Storm kicked out, but James Storm magically locked EC3 in the handcuffs, and EC3's facial expression here was, oh shit. And he looked at James Storm, and he was like, oh no. And James Storm was like, mate, you've got an ass kicking coming to you. James Storm took the strap, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, all the way to 31. He saved it for a second and gave him 32. Really good storytelling. I thought that was really smart. Really smart. James Storm eventually hit EC3 with a 1%er. EC3 kicked out. Nobody hits EC3 with his own move. EC3 somehow got James Storm with his own 1%er, which James Storm kicked out of. EC3 went outside of the ring and pulled James Storm headfirst into the ring post, which James Storm sold beautifully. They got back on the ring. James Storm hit a last call super kick out of nowhere. EC3 bounced on the ropes. James Storm was setting up for another one, but he collapsed. And that was just such good selling. Such a good story moment. EC3 salivated, and the referee was like, just pin him. But EC3 was like, no, I'm going to be a dick. He picked him up, gave him an implant buster. 1, 2, 3. Great finish. Absolutely loved the finish. Really good match. 3.5 stars. Very good professional wrestling match. Told a really, really good story. Had really, really good action. Probably a little bit too finisher spammy, but really, really good story here. Very good match. 3.5 stars. Then we moved into the wackiest match on the show, but that doesn't mean it was bad. We had Jeremy Borash and Joseph Park taking on Josh Matthews and Scott Steiner. Now, I know this feud. I know that Josh Matthews and Jeremy Borash have been feuding for a while, and eventually JB put together a team to face Josh Matthews' team, and JB's team won, so Josh was banned, but now he's back. Whatever, I don't know that bit, but the story was fine, whatever. And the match was like a Final Deletion spin-off, because they did a bit of fighting in the ring, and Joseph Park, like every time Josh Matthews ran at him, just no-sold everything. Obviously, when Scott Steiner got in, he was a bit scared, but whatever. But eventually, JB and Joseph Park, the baby faces, ran to the back, and Josh Matthews and Scott Steiner, the heels, ran after them. And can I just say, Scott Steiner is 54. He still looked amazing, but he's certainly not the muscle-bound man that he was in the 2000s. I mean, he's still, honestly, way too jacked, but he's not quite the pose-off guy anymore. But yeah, so they fought to the back, and we had some pre-recorded footage, and as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, it's Final Deletion all over again. They had nice callbacks. Steiner and Josh Matthews got on a golf cart and ran and drove after JB and Joseph Park, who eventually sprayed them with a fire extinguisher. Scott Steiner and Josh Matthews stole a car from the same guy from the Delete or Decay skit, which I found awesome. They went after Park and JB. They eventually split off. Matthews went after JB. He got back body dropped into a pool, and then JB gave him a cannonball into the pool. They fought underneath the water, and who should come out of nowhere but Shark Boy? And I started laughing because I was loving it. I love Shark Boy. I have a soft spot for Shark Boy. Give me a shell, yeah, because it's unbelievably great. Shark Boy saved JB. JB ran off. Matthews ran after him. And then with Scott Steiner and Joe Park, Steiner threw Joe Park through a wall, and Steiner ran after JB with Josh Matthews. Now, Joe Park was met by James Mitchell, who I was absolutely loving this. James Mitchell came up, and he gave Joe Park the Abyss mask. He said, "Happy Slammiversary." And back in the ring, it was back to normal time. JB was being destroyed by Josh Matthews. Sorry, there's so many Joes. So many J's. Josh Matthews and Scott Steiner were destroying JB. Josh Matthews put JB in the Steiner recliner. And who should come out but give me a shell, yeah, ba-dum, ba-dum. Shark Boy came out, and he got destroyed by Scott Steiner. 2 suplexes. He goes. Steiner then put JB in the Steiner recliner. But whose music should hit? Abyss's. He comes down. He kills Scott Steiner. He kills Josh Matthews. James Mitchell gives him the tax. He puts him in the middle of the ring. He gives Josh Matthews a really crappy black collar slam on the tax. And then JB off the top with a splash onto Josh Matthews. His hands land in the tax. He rolls off. Abyss pins Josh Matthews. 1, 2, 3. First of all, congrats. Well done to Josh Matthews and JB for both taking the tax. And congrats to TNA for making this match what it was, because this match should not have been good. Joe Park has a great story, he's a great character, but Steiner, Josh Matthews, and JB should not have had a match this good. I'm going to give this match 3 3/4 stars. This was entertainment. This was not as good as any of the final deletions, but this was entertaining as hell. And the callbacks to Shark Boy and Abyss and James Mitchell were awesome, especially Shark Boy. I love Shark Boy. 3 3/4 stars. The story ended right, and the 15-year loyal man in JB gets over, and so does Abyss. So that is well done, TNA. Well done. That's very good booking. In your last pay-per-view ever, you don't book the other people. So well done for booking Abyss, again, a loyal guy. 3 3/4 stars. Hell have enjoyed this. Then we had probably a match that was honestly really, really good as well. I really, really liked it. But it's just placement was bad because we just seen a match which was just chaos and was just an ODQ match. So we didn't need another one straight after it. And we had Full Metal Mayhem as it was Davey Richards and Angelina Love against Alicia Edwards and Eddie Edwards. Of course, I know the split. I know they had a great last man standing match, which they did have a great last man standing match. Full Metal Mayhem. So the Edwards is attacked before the bell. This match was a bit of a shame because it only went about 9 minutes, and I think they could have done so much more. I mean, for the 9 minutes, they did everything. There was so many spots, like Eddie Edwards and Alicia Edwards took out Richards and Angelina Love at the beginning. Eventually, Richards gave Edwards a exploder off the apron, and Eddie Edwards killed his knee, and he killed it for the rest of the matchup. While this was going on, Angelina slammed Alicia Edwards into a ladder, but eventually Alicia Edwards hit her with a perfect plex, or a fisherman's buster, on a chair, which this is the best match Angelina Love's ever had, by the way, by an absolute mile. I've got to give a lot of credit to Angelina Love and Alicia Edwards for this matchup. Chaos carried on ensuing. Davey Richards and Angelina Love eventually took control of Eddie and Alicia Edwards. They did some cool spots though, Eddie and Alicia Edwards, like a double team, like powerbomb where Eddie powerbombed Alicia on top of Davey, but eventually Davey and Angelina took control, and they did probably the sickest and stupidest spot I may have ever seen, and I'm genuinely being serious. They poured tax in Eddie Edwards' mouth, and then Davey Richards kicked him in the face. Now, I imagine Eddie Edwards didn't swallow any of them, because that would be stupid. But what if he had? Stupid spot. Stupid. At least Edwards broke up the pin, though, which, thank God, because that shouldn't be a finish, should it? They eventually set up 2 tables. Basically, Angelina Love got powerbombed off a ladder through one table, and on the other side, a sunset flip powerbomb from Eddie to Davey through that table. Eddie pins Davey 1, 2, 3. This match was 9 minutes, but it was chaotic for 9 minutes. And I, again, really, really enjoyed this. 3 3/4 stars. The tack spot was chaos, and they didn't need it, because they just had a tack spot in the last match. It was, I think, really stupid, but I enjoyed the rest of the matchup. 3 3/4 stars. Really, really good stuff from these guys. They got the best out of their time. They really did. And then we had, I believe, the X Division match. I believe so. Sorry about this, guys. Yeah, we did. We had the best of 3 falls X Division title. Low-key, Sonjay Dutt. Low-key, of course, is Hitman, which is what I'm going to go as for Halloween, I think, next year. Just because it's easy to do. And, Agent 47 is one of my favourite characters ever. But yeah, low-key, Hitman. Sonjay Dutt in his first X Division title reign after winning the belt in Mumbai. An Indian winning a title sounds awfully similar. Whatever. This guy's at least a babyface. They're doing it right, WWE. I can't believe I'm giving TNA so much credit over WWE. Like, I love WWE to bits, but... Ugh. So, but at least they're doing the Joe Lesnar thing right, which Great Balls by Fires this weekend. But anyway, X Division title, Low-key Sonjay Dutt. Another really, really good match, but totally different from... This should have gone in the middle of the last 2 matches, because it was totally different from what we've just seen 2 times in a row. So, first fall, I thought was okay, but the finish was what made the first fall amazing. So Sonjay Dutt went for a sunset flip off the top rope. He hit it, but Low-key rolled through and hit the Warrior's Way double foot stomp to the face of Sonjay Dutt. 1, 2, 3, done. First fall. Sonjay Dutt in the second fall. I mean, Low-key could have had that second fall a lot of times. A lot of great stuff from Low-key. A big, like, you know how Cody Rhodes does the disaster kick? Like, Low-key did, like, that very same kick, but did, like, a roundhouse instead of, like, just the normal kick. Which, it was awesome. That got a really good 2 count, but in the end, a Dragon Sleeper was countered by Low-key, by Sonjay Dutt, into a cradle, 1, 2, 3. And then the final fall was really, really good. Low-key did that big kick again. Sonjay Dutt kept fighting. Low-key eventually hit a key crusher for a good 2 count, which, again, the commentators didn't know that it was a key crusher. They didn't know it was his finish. So they just said, "Oh, Fisherman's Buster," and I was like, "It's a key crusher. Call it like it is." So that was really a little bit of a shame, but yeah, key crusher for a 2 count. Eventually, Low-key put Sonjay Dutt in a tree of woe. He went for the Warrior's Way off the top. Low-key, Sonjay Dutt, in a really, really good finish again on a night of what I thought really good finishes. Sonjay Dutt pulled Low-key's tie, pulled him off. Low-key lands. Sonjay hits the moonsault double foot stomp. One of the best finishes in TNA, or in GFW, whatever you want to call it now. Really, really cool. 1, 2, 3. Sonjay Dutt retains the title 2-1. Really good X Division match here. I think they needed something like this on the 15th anniversary to really show that, the X Division was what TNA put on the map, and these 2 guys were very important in the X Division. I know that Sonjay Dutt is only in his first title reign, but Sonjay Dutt has been very important to the X Division, and obviously Low-key is, very important to TNA's history, whether it's the Beatdown Clan or, the X Division, whatever he's done. So, very good match. 3.5 stars. Really enjoyed this match as well. Then we moved into my least favourite match on the show, and it's because it was just a match. Like, nothing happened. It was the GFW Knockouts title unification match as Sienna took on Rosemary. Only in Impact Wrestling could a zombie insane character be a babyface. Could a character who sprays mist be a babyface? Is it only babyface because she's against Sienna? Probably. So Sienna had a normal entrance. Rosemary had the second cool entrance on the show. She came out with a bunch of zombies, which I thought was quite cool. Kind of like Bray Wyatt did at WrestleMania when he came out with Scarecrows against John Cena at 30. Kind of cool entrance for Rosemary. The matchup, though, nothing really happened. Like, there was a suplex off the top. Sienna eventually hit the silencer, which Rosemary kicked out of, and Sienna was like, no, no, but it was like 7 minutes into the match, so it wasn't, like, believable that that's how she'd react. Eventually, Rosemary hit the red wedding, which is literally an F5. Laura Van Ness came down and distracted Rosemary, who was eventually hit with the title belt. Ali came out to get rid of Laura Van Ness, and then, of course, Rosemary was hit with the title belt. 1-2 kick out by Rosemary. Sienna went for something, but Rosemary went for the mist. She went for the mist, but what happened, which I thought was a cool spot, is basically Sienna covered Rosemary's mouth. So when Rosemary's spitting the mist, it is hurting her throat, but it's also hurting Sienna's hand. So both women sold it. Sienna sold her hand, Rosemary sold her throat. After that, Sienna locked Rosemary very quickly in a guillotine, wrenched it back, Rosemary tapped out very quickly. Good finish, smart finish, but to a match that was just really, I liked the false finishes off the Red Wedding, and not really actually. It was a fine match, but I did like the finish, so I'm going to give it 2.25 stars. The weakest match on the show, but not a bad match, just kind of boring in places, but it did get better as they hit finishes. And then the main event of the show, the unification match of the GFW and Impact Championships, as Alberto El Patron with Dos Caras and El Hijo del Dos Caras in his corner took on Lashley with King Mo in his corner. This is a man in Lashley which I think should have gone over, who, he's made his name now in TNA. I know Lashley now more for TNA than WWE. In WWE, he was US champ, he was ECW champ. In TNA, he's the guy. Like, he is the guy. He's the main man in TNA. He's the Walking Armageddon, they call him. Horrible nickname. So, yeah, Alberto El Patron and Lashley, they had a good match. Not the best match on the show, not even the second or third best match on the show when I think about it. But a good match, a superplex, a falling powerbomb from Lashley. Lashley did everything, really. Del Rio eventually got in the crossarm breaker though. Lashley got Schliff powerbomb to get out of it. Lashley with a crossarm breaker of his home, which I thought was a good spot. Eventually, Lashley with a top rope AA, which I think showed how much they were giving Del Rio. All these moves that I'm mentioning were done on Del Rio outside of the arm breaker from Del Rio. But eventually, Lashley countered it and hit the Gotch lift anyway. So Del Rio got a lot in this matchup. Del Rio eventually was out of the ring. Dos Caras and King Mo got into it at one point. Dos Caras chopped him. Lashley eventually pushed Dos Caras and El Hijo Dos Caras back after Dos Caras punted King Mo right in the balls. Lashley eventually and that led to Lashley being, what do you call it? Damn it, distracted. Del Rio put him in the middle rope. Hit the double foot stomp. The second one, he did one earlier in the match for a 2 count. Hit the double stomp. 1, 2, 3. Anticlimactic finish. And Del Rio, El Patron, didn't need to be put over like that. Like, he didn't need to win via distraction because it makes him like a total babyface. But it was still a good match. Like, I'll give it 3 stars. It was a good way to end the show. The Jarretts came out and everyone in TNA came out to congratulate El Patron as TNA dies and GFW Amped begins this week. So that was Slammiversary 15. That was the final TNA Impact Wrestling show they will do. And I'm going to give the show an 8 out of 10. This was a very good pay-per-view. And I love this. I really did enjoy the show. Like, when I think of my favourite shows this year, I mean, Wrestle Kingdom, obviously, Rumble, Mania, New Beginning Osaka, the Dominion show, Chicago, Orlando. But this show was a very, very good show. It was better than every WWE show since Mania. I'm being genuinely serious. It might not have had better matches because I think the Money in the Bank match was better than anything on this show. But overall, this show was better. It didn't have a 1-star match between Ascension and Fabrice. So in the end, I had you got a 3-star main event. The women's match was fine. It wasn't great. It wasn't good, but it was fine, and it was good finish. Good finish in the X Division title match in all 3 falls. Really good finish to the Full Metal Mayhem match. I just think its placement was bad and the attack spot was a bit iffy. I loved the, as I've said, I loved the JB, Joe Park, everything about that with Josh Matthews and Scott Steiner and Shark Boy and James Mitchell and just chaos happening. And then, you know, as I said, the opener was great, really best match on the show, 4.25 stars. The second match on the show, the strap match told a really, really good story, and then the D'Angelo Williams debut, which was probably the second week's match on the show, but still a really, really good debut for D'Angelo Williams. So, guys, thanks for watching. This has been Raw Wrestle. Like, comment, subscribe for more. Tell me your thoughts. What did you think to Slammiversary 15? What was your favourite match? As I said, it was the opener to me. The great Lucha match at the beginning. What was your week's match on the show? What do you think to GFW becoming Impact Wrestling? Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Revolver Wrestler.